Ludwig, 29 October 2023, 3 o'clock, 10 minutes, almost 3:13 A. And B. It's a crime in Brazil, fake records, specific hands on public departments. We will check that we will have our mobile, because it's quite simple, at least for me, because I'm suffering this. Institutional crime, free society locked at home. Institutional crime is the crime that achieved the institutional power. As a judge, having a career and became a minister, for instance, or a chair at the Congress, or at a company. But how this happened? And why is still complaining the same issue? Because we had not proper interest as do the control of the internal failure. In some way, this is keeping you all in blazing act. The wild data attached step 4, phase 4, counterfeit, considering the IoT. The counterfeit is a fake record. Is about fake records and false documents. And in a digital society, considering the issues on the Deutsche Bank, we will have made by an instrument with a geolocation, and the IoT will help a lot. The cretinismus brasileiros, as you can observe, will misuse the power to commit frauds on budget and IoT, and will become the budget. So, we requested US Defense to open IoT directory, carrying Google and Microsoft cases, violations, same groups as offenders, different victims, probably having problems inside those companies, and they have the opportunity to put the problems out. If the CAO is a problem, the CAO must be offered by the board group or internal control as governance, risk and compliance as the problem, from arbitration to the antitrust justice. We will raise this board here, so beautiful, but we will have to erase. We are working with the wild data taxa, considering that we are doing this financial research as 39 trillion as function credit research or financial research as a service pro bono. But since you did the violation, my right and my guarantees, I can make deals on it, only charge, all by law. 66 billion as 33.1% factory plus 1% if deserved, recognized as representative, I would say, of the interest as integrity of right and application of the law against the organized crime at institutional level. And 11 billion as a case, all estimated as minor by fake records made. The idea is like this. We observe that the other side will have the institutional corruption as function, misusing the power by the functionality of departments and abusive procedure, and defamation cases and others as the expectations they have. We will observe now that the idea as IoT, as wild data taxa. Wild data taxa, right? Right. It's carrying inside counterfeit and IoT by modern instruments we have, but also from the past, considering the interval 1920 up to 2028, considering that on present time we will have 1 up to 197 nations. But before this, we observe that we probably have 1 up to a different number as nation, empty ball that got filled little by little until you have this composition as a 197 nation. I will understand at first considering the instruments that I have as fraud, which is the budget at the very first moment, in the way we are having, and the place when I have the fraud. In the past is analogical, kind of is the local that I signed the contract or made the fraudulent scam, but nowadays I can have my mobile logged in Asia and do the fraud in USA, and I must cross with other instruments considering the idea as punch card, lines, columns, lines and columns, lines and columns, 1 up to 200 is how the COBOL works. It will have you from here until have you here, and explicit as corruption with criminal purpose on it, going in an instrument misused in a specific place, nowadays by specific hands. New instruments we have the digital payments, but the source is analogical, is a treasury or a saving account. The streams, in the same way, the artist receiving will have an amount of money that can be researched as the destination artist, instrument to transfer, and the storage that had been used in the very specific moments just before the transfer to the destination. It will help to understand how these new nations here got formed and the resources that must come from an area here that lost the integrity as resource. This pattern, in the same way, we could observe on piracy. That goes like this. You have the integrity of your item as an authentic thing, but by lower price you will have reduced the competitive argument inside the market, because indeed you are having the fake item on it. But in this became so profitable that you have an investment saving curve as a result of illicit things, productive system of piracy, and the liquidity money. But here I have as inner variable the taxation. They do not pay, so they could bite a bit more, and in the end you observe that you have, for instance, the Armani allowing a store in a fancy shopping mall that you only offer fake items, or the Ralph Lauren, for instance, and you consider that the solution in the night was use the almost slavery hands that will put you in troubles in the ILO, which is the International Labor Organization. But the International Labor Organization will have a loss as capacity and legitimacy if considered normal. At first, the aggression suffered by the companies, considering the suppression at the competitive ways and arguments to raise the productive system of authentic things, combined with the reduced payments. And for instance, in Europe, you almost destroyed the middle class that will save some money to buy the authentic things, but is having no option with artists, with things, with everything. And this is the idea. The same pattern we can observe as supply and demand of authentic things. We will observe at the composition as new nations, considering the interval 1910 20 up to 2028, currently with 197 nations, understand how God formed new nations to prevent new nations formed by the division of present time, considering the interest as warfare and paramilitary, as shield of the transnational organized crime, organized at the institution and operating from the institutional power misused considering the states. We'll finish here because it's Sunday and I consider that sleep is part of the regular life we do and must live, despite all other things that kind of are far away from normal reality. Right? Have a great night.